History is written by the victors, but the Bible was edited by survivors. We all know the 12 tribes of Israel. But what if the most powerful lineage was scrubbed from the scrolls? A tribe so dark, so other, that even the prophets feared to name them. This isn't just a story of faith, it's a story of global security, hidden assets, and a wealth management strategy that has lasted 3 millennia. The math of the Bible is as precise as a blockchain ledger. 12 tribes, 12 apostles. But in the book of Revelation, chapter 7, the data audit fails. One name has been deleted, the tribe of Dan. Why would a lineage with the highest net worth in the Promised Land be stripped of its inheritance? This wasn't a clerical error, it was a risk management move by the divine to protect the global economy of the afterlife. Ancient Hebrew scholars whispered about a serpent seed, a lineage that didn't just walk with God, but leveraged the technology of the entities that fell from the sky. We are taught the tribes are spiritual, but the 13th tribe was obsessed with resource extraction and precious metals. They didn't just build altars, they built the world's first banking infrastructure at the foot of Mount Hermon, a real estate location known as the Gateway of the Fallen. In 1947, the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls acted as a declassified intelligence report. While the public focused on the gospel, private security firms and institutional investors were more interested in the fragments regarding the Ben Nachash, the sons of the snake. These texts suggest that the 13th tribe held proprietary knowledge of the Earth's natural resources granted to them by the Watchers. They weren't lost, they simply went offshore. But how did a tribe of Hebrew warriors transform into the world's most elite private equity shadow government? To find the answer, we have to look at the security protocols of the Northern Gate, and why your own life insurance or DNA test might be flagged if you carry their signature. The tribe of Dan's move to the north wasn't just a migration, it was a strategic relocation of their entire industrial base. By occupying the territory around Mount Hermon, they secured the most valuable intellectual property of the ancient world. This site was the Silicon Valley of the Nephilim, a hub for advanced metallurgy and astronomical data. While other tribes focused on agriculture, Dan was building a monopoly on the tools of war and the secrets of the stars. At Tel Dan, archaeologists didn't just find a temple. They found a logistics center designed for mass market paganism. They built a ritual system that functioned like a franchise model, mirroring the tabernacle, but removing the moral constraints of the law. This allowed them to attract foreign investment from the Phoenicians and Canaanites. They were the first to understand that controlling the narrative is the most effective way to manage human capital. When the Assyrian Empire invaded, history records it as a conquest. But looking at the economic indicators, it looks more like a merger and acquisition. The 13th tribe didn't fight to the death. They traded their logistics networks and intelligence assets for safe passage. They became the hidden partners of the empire, shifting their headquarters from the Levant to the Caucasus Mountains, a region that acts as a natural fortress for protecting private wealth. Fast forward to the 8th century, where this lineage re-emerged as the Khazar Khaganate. This wasn't a kingdom, it was a multinational holding company that controlled the Silk Road, the ancient equivalent of the global internet. Their conversion to Judaism was the ultimate rebranding campaign. It allowed them to operate as a neutral third party between the warring Christian and Islamic worlds, effectively becoming the world's first offshore tax haven for international trade. But as their market cap grew, so did the need to hide their true origin story. To protect their brand equity, they began to infiltrate the royal lineages of the West. In the next 4 minutes, we'll look at the genetic forensics and biometric markers that prove the 13th tribe didn't just survive, they took over the global banking system. In the world of high-end insurance and private medical records, there is a data point that researchers rarely discuss in public: the Rh-negative blood factor. While standard healthcare software treats it as a simple trait, forensic genealogists see it as a proprietary marker. This blood type, which lacks the rhesus monkey protein, appeared suddenly in the regions controlled by the 13th tribe. It is the biological barcode of a lineage that refuses to integrate with the standard human biometric database. When the Khazar Empire finally collapsed, their liquid assets didn't vanish, they migrated. The 13th tribe moved into Western Europe, funding the Crusades through a complex system of letters of credit and international wire transfers. They were the architects behind the Knights Templars financial services model. By providing liquidity to bankrupt monarchs, they traded gold for land titles and political influence, successfully executing a hostile takeover of the European aristocracy. By the 17th century, this 13th lineage had established the first central banking systems. They understood that controlling a nation's money supply was more effective than controlling its army. This was the ultimate diversification strategy. By distancing themselves from their biblical Danite roots and adopting the names of European nobility, they protected their personal liability. They became the invisible hands behind global currency markets and sovereign debt. Today, the explosion of at-home DNA testing kits and ancestry databases isn't just a hobby for the curious, it is a large-scale data mining operation. While you look for distant cousins, institutional algorithms are scanning for the serpent seed markers. They are looking for the specific genetic sequences that correlate with the 13th tribe's high cognitive performance and predatory risk-taking traits. Your digital identity is being audited by the very lineage that the Bible tried to erase. But why are they tracking you? Because the smart contracts of the Bible suggest that the 13th tribe has a final role to play in the Great Reset. In the next 4 minutes, we'll dive into the Council of the 13 and their plan for a digital currency that mirrors the mark of the beast, a fintech system designed thousands of years ago in the darkness of the Northern Gate. In the world of wealth management and international law, there is a tier of governance that sits above the G20. Occult researchers and whistleblowers from the private banking sector refer to it as the Council of 13. This isn't just a boardroom, it is a hereditary assembly of the 13th tribe's most pure bloodlines. Their corporate governance is based on the divine right of the Nephilim. They don't see themselves as public servants, but as the senior stakeholders of the planet's real estate and human resources. The transition to a cashless society isn't a modern convenience. It is the fulfillment of a fintech roadmap designed at the Northern Gate. The 13th tribe has spent decades investing in blockchain technology and biometric authentication. Why? Because the mark of the beast requires a centralized digital identity system where every transaction can be audited in real time. This is the ultimate enterprise software for global control, turning the entire human population into a managed asset on the 13th tribe's ledger. The Book of Revelation warns that no man might buy or sell without the mark. In modern terms, this is a programmable currency or a smart contract. The 13th tribe is currently engineering a central bank digital currency, CBDC, that can be turned off based on your social credit score or compliance with their mandates. This is the serpent's venom in digital form, a system that bypasses sovereign borders and places the power of life and death back into the hands of the sons of the snake. While they push the world toward digital transparency, the 13th tribe hides behind shell companies, offshore trusts, and encrypted communication networks. They understand that privacy is a luxury reserved for the rulers. They are building smart cities that function as high-tech cages for the 12 tribes, while they retreat to fortified estates and underground infrastructure that the Bible refers to as the caves and rocks of the mountains. But there is a flaw in their algorithm. The same Bible that they tried to edit contains a disaster recovery plan, a prophecy that specifically targets the 13th tribe's global monopoly. In the next 4 minutes, we will look at the judgment of Dan and why the world's ruling elite are terrified of a specific geological event predicted to happen at Mount Hermon. In the world of risk assessment and business continuity, every empire has a breaking point. The 13th tribe has built a global monopoly on finance and information, but they are operating under a smart contract they cannot delete: the judgment of Dan. Genesis 49:17 describes Dan as a serpent, by the way, but verse 16 promises that Dan shall judge his people. This isn't a reward, it's a legal settlement. Ancient prophecy suggests that the very system they built to enslave the 12 tribes will eventually become their own liquidation event. Why are aerospace defense contractors and geological survey teams suddenly obsessed with the 33rd parallel? Mount Hermon sits exactly at 33 degrees north and east. It is the most fortified real estate on the planet. occupied by UN peacekeepers in a zone known as the Gateway. Recent satellite imagery and subsurface radar have detected an anomaly beneath the mountain, a massive non-human infrastructure that is beginning to emit a low-frequency signal. The 13th tribe believes this is the return of the masters, but the Bible calls it the opening of the abyss. The 13th tribe has spent billions on archaeological preservation through organizations like UNESCO. But this is actually a data censorship campaign. At the base of Mount Hermon, they have uncovered giant circles and megalithic structures that defy civil engineering logic. These sites contain inscriptions in a pre-Hebrew language that detail a global extinction event caused by the corruption of all flesh, or in modern terms, the genetic modification of human DNA. They are hiding these findings to protect their brand authority as the natural leaders of humanity. The 13th tribe's Great Reset is a strategic pivot to move humanity into a virtual reality and a tokenized economy before the Hermon anomaly goes live. They want you focused on your digital wallet and social credit score while they prepare for the physical return of their Nephilim ancestors. But the Great Revelation suggests a system failure. When the door at Mount Hermon opens, it won't be a tech upgrade. It will be a catastrophic event that renders their digital assets and centralized servers completely useless. They think they are the hunters, but they are actually the ones being tracked. In the next 4 minutes, we will look at the forensic evidence that a remnant of the 12 tribes has survived in the shadows, and how a recession-proof spiritual lineage is preparing to reclaim the inheritance the 13th tribe stole. While the 13th tribe was busy building centralized databases and urban infrastructure, a remnant of the original 12 tribes was executing a long-term diversification strategy. These are the lineages that refused to move into the smart cities of the ancient world. They bypassed the taxation systems of the Khazars and the debt traps of the European banks. Today, forensic genealogy is revealing that while the 13th tribe dominates the wealthiest 1%, the spiritual remnant has survived in the decentralized rural pockets of the world, carrying a DNA sequence that the AI algorithms cannot fully categorize. Modern biotechnology firms and pharmaceutical researchers have spent billions trying to synthesize the Judah marker, a specific genetic resilience found in those who resist the 13th tribe's behavioral conditioning. This marker is linked to high emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and a natural immunity to the fear frequency emitted by modern telecommunications infrastructure. This is the 13th tribe's greatest liability, a population they cannot control via biometric nudging or digital rewards. The Bible speaks of a restoration of all things. In legal terms, this is a restitution of property on a global scale. The 13th tribe has treated the Earth's natural resources as their personal portfolio, but the remnant holds the original title, deeds. These aren't paper documents. They are biological smart contracts written into the Earth itself. As the global financial system enters a phase of hyperinflation, the value of these spiritual assets is skyrocketing. The 13th tribe knows their sovereign immunity is about to expire. We are entering the Great Audit. Every transaction, every hidden trust, and every corporate veil is being pulled back by a force that the 13th tribe's encryption cannot block. They are rushing to implement universal basic income, UBI, and digital IDs to keep the 12 tribes locked in a subscription-based reality. But the remnant is moving towards self-sovereignty. They are exiting the legacy system and moving into a peer-to-peer spiritual economy that doesn't require a central bank or a Nephilim stakeholder to validate it. The 13th tribe isn't just afraid of you waking up, they are afraid of who is waking up inside you. In the final minutes, we are going to look at the arrival. The moment the encryption breaks and the 13th tribe's global empire faces a hostile takeover from a power they haven't seen in 3,000 years. The 13th tribe's power relies on information asymmetry, knowing what you don't. Their entire global security apparatus, from quantum computing to satellite surveillance, is designed to keep the 12 tribe remnant in a state of cognitive dissonance. But ancient prophecy suggests a systemic failure in their Archon software. We are approaching a geological and solar event that will act as an EMP for the soul, stripping away the digital illusions and the corporate branding of the 13th tribe. When the veil, or the skotos, drops, their hidden assets will be exposed to the light of a universal audit. In mergers and acquisitions, a hostile takeover occurs when the target company's board is bypassed. The Board of 13 thinks they own the global supply chain, but the Bible describes a thief in the night, a high-level intellectual property reclamation. This is the return of the original architect. The 13th tribe has been squatting on the planet's natural resources and human capital, using usury and debt-based instruments to maintain control. But their lease agreement is expiring. The judgment of Dan isn't a courtroom trial. It's a foreclosure on a cosmic scale. The Great Reset they promised you was a trap to move your wealth into a tokenized, programmable cage. The real Great Reset is the reallocation of inheritance. The Bible promises that the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. This is a literal transfer of title deeds. As the 13th tribe's fiat currencies and speculative bubbles burst, the remnant will find themselves in possession of the only tangible assets that matter: the land, the seeds, and the sovereign DNA that cannot be patented by big tech or biotech conglomerates. We are currently in the due diligence phase. You are being tracked not just by cookies and algorithms, but by the spiritual forces that the 13th tribe serves. Every financial decision, every digital footprint, and every ancestry search is a vote. Will you remain a managed asset in the 13th tribe's digital panopticon? Or will you claim your sovereign immunity as a member of the 12? The 13th tribe tried to erase you from history, but the final block of the great ledger hasn't been written yet. The shadow of the serpent is long, but it is just a shadow. The 13th tribe is real. Their banking systems are real, and their ancient bloodline is real, but their time is a depreciating asset. If you felt the pull of the Northern Gate, or if your blood carries the RH in negative mystery, the audit has already begun. Subscribe to Dark History Revealed for more declassified biblical intelligence. Don't be a managed asset, be the remnant.